Welcome to Billo's Science Fiction. The Search by William L. Ramseyer. The light exploded, rushed out from a dark, empty corner of space, a place so dull that you couldn't hold it in a thought, let alone notice it through a telescope. The beam touched the earth, and at that moment, everything froze. It was audit day. The audit didn't take much time by Earth standards. In fact, as far as the Earth would ever know, it took no time at all. The auditors stopped the local universal clock. When they finished, they would reset it and start it up again, as they had done many times on many worlds. What are audits? One of the department heads thought of the idea as a way to locate amusing or enlightening ideas to help God pass the long time that makes up eternity, sending interesting items upstairs in the eternal search of all department heads for a budget increase. Auditors visit the Earth and other planets in that sector every 800 years or so. The head auditor stood in an avenue in Washington, D.C., facing the Library of Congress. What a disaster, he thought. Doesn't anybody in the department ever think ahead? This planet has computers now, 1,000, 1,000,000 times more information than last time, and I'm supposed to sort through it with this crew of bozos? With all due respect, sir, I'm not a bozo, said the first clerk. Really? Well then, show me what you got. I found this in a Russian novel. Listen. Without God, all things are permitted. The clerk held up the book in triumph. Give me that. The head auditor grabbed the book, ripped it in half, disintegrated the two pieces with a thought, and not a very nice thought at that. We're here to find things that will make a good impression upstairs, things that will give us recognition. Even if this were original, which I doubt, having had the same thought myself, do you think that I could put something like this in my report? Come on, think. The head auditor's tirade made him feel better. He softened his tone. Listen, this planet hasn't produced a good thought in thousands of years. It's slated for reprogramming if we don't find something. The head auditor fondly thought back to the audit when he had neglected to freeze time. The locals had worshipped him as an angel. It felt good to have fans. But now, certainly at the home office, no one appreciated him. Why don't you look through some ads? Now that's where you'll find some profound positive messages. The first clerk returned to the Library of Congress. Now, thought the clerk, I have to find a replacement for the book that fool destroyed, or more likely I'll have to create a new one. And that means writing up an impact report on my own time. The clerk carefully shielded a pleasant thought about revenge. He had formed important contacts at the Home Office, and in his own opinion, he would certainly not remain a mere clerk much longer. Where are my other clerks? Yelled the head auditor. Right here, said the second clerk meekly. Having heard the conversation with the first clerk, he had been trying without success to find a place to hide. What do you have? I found this in Thailand in a letter from a Buddhist monk. He wrote it to his mother. I mean, it may not be very important, but I'm sure, of course, that you, better than any of us, would, that is, know better than I. The clerk abruptly stopped speaking and looked blankly at the head auditor. Then, seeming to wake out of a dream, he blurted out, What is the sound of one hand clapping in the forest? Head auditor's mouth dropped open. He glared scornfully at the second clerk. That's the same thing you brought me 800 years ago. Look at the date on that letter. Bumbleheads, he thought. What can you expect? He called for the last clerk, and receiving no answer, went looking for him. He found him in Paris, in the 17th arrondissement, sitting in front of Le Sexe Shop, staring vacantly at the deep blue sky with its frozen clouds. Hey, do you think you could maybe get to work? Said the head auditor. Am I bothering you? Or have you forgotten who your employer is? The head auditor looked up significantly. Oh no, you're not bothering me at all, said the clerk. He smiled and chewed slowly on a piece of refined plutonium. Have a seat, boss. What's up? What have you been doing since we got here? Have you found anything? Have you even looked? Well, let's see. I read some nice graffiti. Don't believe your old bullshit. Graffiti, snorted the head auditor. Useless. The third clerk yawned, tossed a piece of cardboard in the air, caught it by the corner. And what's that you're playing with? Just an ad. I liked the color, so I took it out of the store window. Who's going to fix all the damage you're doing, huh? Can you tell me that? You clerks are running amok, consuming radioactives, grabbing anything you see in windows, giving me garbage. I mean, absolutely amok. Interesting, said Clerk 3. Your thought patterns resemble those of the locals. Give me that. The head auditor grabbed the poster, an ad for a new perfume. The inevitable woman wearing a hormone smile and little else, sitting in front of a mirror, and the inevitable reflected man standing in the shadows behind her. He read the text out loud. Il n'y a pas d'espoir sans le mystère. There is no hope without mystery. Hey, I like it. I really like it. Maybe there's hope after all. I mean, if there's mystery. I'd like to make a painting of this planet, said the third clerk. Someday I'll design worlds for the R&D section. You're too much of a dreamer, 3. Leave it to the engineers. What did the Home Office think of the audit report? Personally, I don't know. But 50 cases of Le Mystère Cologne vanished from a Marseille warehouse yesterday. A watchman swears they disappeared in a blinding flash of light. But what happened to the cologne remains a mystery. I hope. The end.